Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Alright, so we're going to have some updates on the Thomas Valva trial here. I've missed a few days, but we're not too far behind. And I've been reading it, I've been following. I just needed to do a video update for everyone here, because this is definitely a case that has become near and dear to my heart, as well as Harmony, the previous video I just posted. But before we get into the video topic today, I always feature a missing persons poster on the channel. So let me pull up today's missing persons poster. Okay, so today's missing person is going to be 16-year-old Colleen Weaver. She's out of Raynham, Massachusetts. It states that she was last seen on Tuesday, October 18th, 2022 at approximately 1 a.m. when she left her home. Again, she's 16, a white female, red and pink hair, 5 foot, 120 pounds, believed to be wearing glasses and unknown clothing. They're asking if you have any information on Colleen to please call the Raynham Police Department at 508-824-2717, or of course you can always call 911. Again, if you have any information on this missing teenager, Colleen Weaver out of Massachusetts, please dial 911 or call the police department. Okay, so now we're up to the recordings and text messages that were played for the jury. And I can't imagine how horrific this had to have been for the jury to hear. Okay. Again, this is from Newsday. Like I said, that they are the best. They're covering this case. There's them and one other source out of Long Island. They are covering this case very extensively, as the media is not allowed to do any live video or audio from the courtroom. Ex-NYPD officer Michael Valva repeatedly asked his son Thomas if he was alive when the 8-year-old collapsed and was unresponsive outside their Center Mortgage home before he passed away of hypothermia. But he waited nearly an hour to call 911, according to a video recording and testimony presented to the jury Thursday during his unaliving trial. So this would have been last Thursday, and today is Monday when I record this. So he waited 50 whole minutes to call 911. I mean, like I said, every single thing we hear in this trial, it just makes your blood boil even more. Wake up! Are you alive? Are you alive? Are you alive? Are you alive? You can't answer me? Fine, Valva said to his 8-year-old son on the January 17, 2020 recording. 50 minutes before Valva called 911 at 9:41 a.m. Thomas was pronounced unalived at 10:28 a.m. that day at Long Island Community Hospital with a body temperature of 76.1 degrees. What the freaking heck? So first of all, we know what you did to your son. You had him sleeping in this garage, and then you sprayed him down with cold water outside. I mean, every single thing that Michael had to do, and as well as Angela, like I said, it makes your blood boil, and all you want to do is have a few minutes with them in a small room. And I know a lot that their mother really would love to have that, and I'm sure a lot of other people would too. The boy had spent the previous night in an unheated garage when the temperature plunged to 19 degrees, said Suffolk Police Sergeant Norberto Flores, the lead detective in the case, and now an internal affairs sergeant who has spent the last 2 days on the witness stand. The video, along with other home security clips taken from Valva's Bittersweet Lane home and dozens of text messages between the ex-cop and his former fiancée and co-defendant, Angela Polina, were presented Thursday inside a Riverhead courtroom. Prosecutors have alleged that Valva, 43, and Polina, 45, forced Thomas and Anthony, who were both on the autism spectrum, to sleep in the unheated garage for months before Thomas passed away from hypothermia. Valva has pleaded not guilty to second-degree unaliving and child endangerment charges in the death of Thomas and the alleged abuse of his eldest son, Anthony, then 10. Polina has also pled not guilty and is set to be tried at a later date. It states that prosecutors have said both Thomas and Anthony were also allegedly starved and beaten. Valva's lead defense attorney, John Laturco, said after court Thursday, the presentation of videos certainly had a dramatic impact on the entire courtroom, as they clearly demonstrated that Michael Valva abused his sons. However, despite the evidence of maltreatment, the trial evidence has also shown that Michael Valva loved Thomas and never intended to cause his unaliving. BS. Michael attempted to save Thomas's life by calling 911 and performed CPR once he realized Thomas was in true medical distress. He decided to perform it on a couch. On a couch. You're supposed to lie him on the floor on a flat surface. Okay. Supreme Court Justice William Condon, as had done the day before, warned those sitting in the courtroom gallery to refrain from showing any reaction to the video and audio, which he called very graphic. Both sides here are entitled to a fair trial, Condon said. Let's make sure they get one. Yeah. So, let's see. Polina texted Valva numerous video clips, according to Flores, that showed Thomas and Anthony in the garage, where the couple had banished them because of repeated toilet accidents that only happened when they began living with Valva and Polina, who denied the boys access to a toilet, prosecutors have said. Who the heck denies a person access to a toilet? I mean, that is one of the most inhumane things I've ever heard. One video recovered from their phones, recorded 2 days before Thomas passed away, showed the two boys laying on the floor without a mattress, blankets, or pillows. Anthony, wearing a hoodie cinched around his head, appeared to be shivering. In another text sent by Valva to Polina on January 29, 2018, the defendant chastised his former fiancée for leaving his eldest son Andrew alone outside. First of all, you leave the boys out in the cold, in the dark at night. What makes this any different? Polina responded. In a February 12, 2019 text, Valva vowed to punish his sons by forcing them outside in the snow. Then they can see what life is like outside, Valva wrote. Anthony's locked in an expletive garage, Valva wrote to Polina on May 1st, 2019, before adding, he's never coming back in, okay? My blood is boiling, you guys. One text message on May 14, 2019, indicated Valva planned to punish Thomas for revealing to school officials that he and Anthony slept in the garage. School psychiatrist Renee Emim testified earlier in the trial that Thomas confided in her and a Child Protective Services caseworker that same day that he and Anthony were sleeping in the garage. It was Tom, Valva wrote to Polina. He told everything. He's dead. I want to know who... I don't know, guys. Like I said, my blood is boiling. My blood's boiling. Prosecutors also played video from the morning of Thomas's unaliving from a camera pointed in the area off the kitchen that was a combination laundry room and pantry, labeled Bella's room, and the security system because it was where the family's dog slept. While most of the video from that morning had been deleted when Suffolk Police Detective Guy Gehrig got access to the system, that video remained, he testified earlier. The video primarily showed the small dog lying down and sometimes pacing in the room, which was closed off by what appeared to be a baby gate, but also picked up audio from the kitchen and the garage where prosecutors alleged Thomas and Anthony had spent the night as the temperature fell to 19 degrees. Valva and Polina became enraged that morning after Thomas had soiled himself, prosecutors have said. Valva can be briefly seen in the video, still in his pajamas in Bella's room, wearing what appeared to be black latex gloves, holding a small plastic bag. So I assume that they're the gloves. Let's see. This is the gloves. I can't beat the expletive out of him, right? Valva asked before ordering him into the backyard, where prosecutors had the defendant hose down the boy with water. Valva screamed at the boy to get up, and then a child was heard asking why Thomas can't walk. Polina replied, because he's hypothermic. Hypothermic means you're freezing. Washing yourself in cold water when it's freezing outside, you get hypothermic. Well, Polina's not wrong about that. Thomas was catatonic, Valva was heard saying, but Valva continued to berate him even after Polina urged him to tone it down. Come on, Michael, the expletive neighbor, she said. When Polina asked Valva at one point what he was doing, he replied, expletive suffocating him is what I'm doing. Polina answered, get your hand off his mouth right now. Stop yelling at him. There's cameras everywhere. Valva, still yelling, said, this stupid expletive son of an expletive fell head first into the concrete twice. He's got 2 gigantic lumps on his head. Asked by Paulina why he fell, Valva replied, because he's cold. Boo, expletive, boo. Who? Now he's a bloody expletive mess. Prosecutor Carrie Ann Kelly will resume questioning Flores on Friday. So this was again last Thursday. You guys, if you're not stunned by this description, and we're not even hearing it in person, just reading it, both of them to me are sick people, and all they deserve is to be in prison behind bars, and I'm probably worse. I'm sure worse, but it's very sickening and it's very sad, and like I said, my blood boils every time I read what's going on at this trial. All right, so let me pull up the next article here. This is last Friday at the trial. Their former housekeeper testified at the trial. So here's what she had to say. Michael Valva's former housekeeper testified Friday that the ex-NYPD officer who was on trial for allegedly unaliving his 8-year-old son Thomas was focused and frantic as he performed CPR on the boy in the basement of his Central Montmorency's home while on the phone with 911, a point that Valva's attorneys argue is key to his defense. Okay, so far, I can tell you, this housekeeper, I don't know. I don't believe her at all. Michael was giving chest compressions to Thomas on the sofa, said Tyrene Rodriguez, who was at Valva's home on January 17, 2020, the day Thomas died, and testified as a defense witness in a Riverhead courtroom on Friday. Prosecutors contend Valva waited about 50 minutes to call 911 at 9:41 a.m. after Valva was heard at 8:50 a.m. on a surveillance video previously played for the jury, screaming at Thomas to wake up and repeatedly asking, "Are you alive?" And on cross-examination, Rodriguez conceded that she thought Thomas, who was blue and looked lifeless, was already deceased when Valva performed CPR on the boy. So she does say he was on the couch. So we have that. I guess she thought, oh, he's doing the right thing. No, he wasn't. Valva has pleaded not guilty to second-degree unaliving and child endangerment charges in Thomas's death and the alleged abuse of his eldest son, Anthony. Okay, let's see. There is the housekeeper right there. All right. Rodriguez, formerly of Mastic, but now a resident of Deerfield, Ohio, testified that when she arrived to the home, which she described as always immaculately beautiful inside and decorated in an Italian-y motif, that morning she spoke to Paulina in the kitchen. She heard crying, and Paulina told her it was Thomas who had fallen while running for the bus. Gee, I think the two of them had this same story going on, the same lie, huh? Rodriguez was cleaning the main floor bathroom sink with music playing in her earbuds when she heard an automated voice from the home surveillance system indicating the garage door open, she testified. So I looked over my shoulder at that moment and I saw Michael, Angela, and Thomas walking in the direction of the kitchen, said Rodriguez, noting that she only saw Thomas's legs, which were in pants. Thomas was crying. I heard whimpering, she said. Some 10 to 15 minutes later, Rodriguez said a frazzled and hysterical Paulina approached her and said, "Thomas isn't breathing. Michael has 911 on the phone." They ran to the basement where Valva, who had a 911 operator on the speakerphone, was doing CPR, she said. Valva defense attorney John Laturco then played the 911 call. Both Rodriguez and Valva, sitting at the defense table, cried while the call played for the jury. Rodriguez, who has received CPR training, said she thought it was, quote, strange that Valva, who had also CPR training as a police officer, initially had Thomas on the sofa because a patient should be on a hard, flat surface, Rodriguez said. See, even she knows that. She knelt down near Thomas's head and leaned it back to open its airway, she said, and noticed he felt cold, clammy, and wet. On cross-examination, prosecutor Laura Nicombe accused Rodriguez of being a little unsure of everything that day and played audio from the surveillance video inside the Valva house as she sought to demonstrate that Rodriguez was mistaken when she testified she heard Thomas crying after arriving to the house at about 8:58 a.m. Newcomb also questioned Rodriguez's contention that a crying Thomas walked from the garage with Valva and Paulina, pointing to her earlier police statement that Valva was cradling the boy. Today was a good day for the defense because it demonstrates that Michael Valva was performing life-saving measures on Thomas, Laturco said after court on Friday. The cleaning lady provided corroboration of that fact, and it goes toward our defense that Michael was not depraved, that he actually tried to save his son. Clearly, Michael was a terrible parent. He had his significant deficiencies, but in the end, he still loved Thomas and tried to save him in the end. I completely disagree with you. I realize you guys are defense attorneys and you have to support your client there, but I think it was all faked, and even the housekeeper knew. You can't have him on the sofa. I think she's mistaken on her times completely. I think the prosecution is completely 100% correct on that. She saw them attempting to do CPR, and I think obviously seeing him on the sofa, she knew that wasn't right. So, like the prosecution's trying to give the jury, there's the question as to how effective and how much truth there is to what Thomas was doing, and the fact that this housekeeper may have been a little confused on timings and stuff like that. So hopefully the jury doesn't buy that load of garbage at all. Okay, and now we are up to today. This is Monday, October 24th. So this is the update from today, and it may be updated yet again because I'm recording this. It's around 5 o'clock, 5:30. Ex-NYPD officer Michael Valva and former fiancé discuss deleted video. Okay. Ex-NYPD officer Michael Valva and his ex-fiancée Angela Polina were captured on home surveillance video discussing deleting video from the system on the day the cop's 8-year-old son died from hypothermia, a Suffolk police detective testified Monday at his trial. I believe I hear Angela Polina say she deleted the history, said Suffolk Police Sergeant Norberto Flores, the lead detective on the Valva case. And I believe I hear Michael Valva say, change the password now. Valva, 43, has pled not guilty to second-degree unaliving and child endangerment charges in connection with Thomas's death. Polina, 45, has also pled not guilty and is slated to be tried later. Okay, let's see. At Valva's Riverhead trial Monday, prosecutors played the undeleted video clip showing Flores speaking to Valva at 2:46 p.m. on January 17, 2020. Thomas was pronounced dead at about 4 hours earlier at 10:28 a.m. in the living area of his Center Moriches home. Flores testified that he assured Valva the police department would attempt to not release anything about Thomas's unaliving in a media release, and offered his condolences to Valva and Polina, who were both sitting on a couch next to an NYPD chaplain. Moments after Flores departed the home, the video showed Polina rising from the couch and walking over to Valva and telling him she deleted the history, Flores said. Valva, standing next to two NYPD officers, instructed her to, quote, change the password now. Corruption and lies? I think so. Suffolk Police Detective Guy Gehrig testified earlier in the trial that after he received the username and password for the video surveillance system, he attempted to download videos from that day, but most were deleted. The only surviving video from just before Thomas's death was a combined laundry room and pantry area where the family dog Bella was contained. That video, which was saved on the video system as, quote, Bella's room, has emerged as key evidence in the trial. Although the video footage from the room mostly showed the dog, audio captured from the adjacent kitchen and garage recorded Valva screaming and swearing at Thomas. At one point, while Flores said smacking sounds were heard, Valva repeatedly yells, "Are you alive?" The trial continues Monday afternoon. So again, this was earlier today, so I'm sure that we'll have more updates. But again, I honestly hope that this audio that they get from the dog's room, the laundry room, of all things, the dog is in a heated, temperature-controlled room, but not Thomas or his brother. I hope that this is going to bring him and Angela down. I really, truly do. I hope that it's going to bring him down. And this little boy right on the screen right now, he deserves justice. He deserves every single bit of it. He deserves both his father and his potential step monster. They both should be behind bars, if not worse. And I have heard, I've had some folks reaching out to me about Angela, and I'll be covering that soon once I get a chance to get some more information and substantiate some information on that. As her trial is coming soon. We don't know when. We don't have a date yet. But I'll tell you what. It's like I said, as I continue to say, this sickens me. It makes my blood boil every single time I read the updates and all the information coming out of this trial. And I can't imagine how upsetting this is for the jury. And I really hope that they come back with the right verdict. But I don't know. We just need justice for these little babies. There's just too many of these little babies that no one's listening to them. And Thomas himself, he asked for help. He asked his school psychiatrist and he asked a CPS worker. He was told them, I need help. And guess what? They did nothing for him. And what happens? His life was taken. It's sickening. It's just sick, and it makes you want to like go after all these horrible CPS and DCFS workers. It really does. Again, this is just like the Harmony trial. It's a corrupt system that does not protect the children. It doesn't protect these children whatsoever. All right, guys. So this was the update on the Michael Valva trial. And again, I'm wanting to keep Thomas's face on the out front of this because it's all about Thomas, little Tommy, and his brother. Because we just need to put these monsters behind bars. And let's pray the jury does the right thing on this. I know we have still a little bit more of Michael's trial to go, and I'm going to continue to cover it all the way through. Thanks again for checking out the channel on your way out. If you haven't already, please hit that like button if you like the content. And always leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. Let me know what you think. Any information on this case or any other case that I'm covering, please feel free to send me any emails. I love to hear from you guys. And with that said and done, that's going to be it. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.